Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Today we have beef and yellow saffron rice. Super tasty meal. We're going to throw some veggies in there, and we're also going to put a little Korean flair on it. We'll show you that in the video coming up. Hey guys, Randall here with Cooking Under Pressure, a YouTube channel dedicated to teaching you how to use your pressure cooker and giving you wonderful, fantastic recipes that you can use in your Instapot, Power Pressure Cooker XL, or maybe if you're new to pressure cooking, you'll go out and buy a pressure cooker and want to make some of these recipes. There are definitely people that have pressure cookers sitting out in their garage or maybe underneath the counter collecting dust. They're afraid to use them. They're not sure what recipes to make. Well, we're here to give you the tips and the tricks on how to use your pressure cooker. Let's get together and make this happen. Hey guys, thanks for joining. Welcome back. Today we have a super simple meal. It is beef and rice. Whenever you want to put something together, we're talking staple meals. Beef and rice is where we're at, but I've got something different here. We're going to throw a little bit of twist today and add some different flavors to your standard beef and rice. So let's get this meal started. As you guys know, I always go in right away with putting in the rice because this is a complete meal. So we're going to put in about 2 tablespoons of oil and 1 good dollop of butter or margarine. You know I like this Kerrygold, so I'm going to put in 1 dollop of margarine. And this is going to help the yellow saffron rice that we're going to be cooking with our beef today. So we've got the oil and the butter, and we're going to put the 1.5 cups. No, today actually there's only 2 of us eating. I'm going with 1 cup. So we are going with 1 cup. And remember, it's 1-to-1. We normally match up 1 liquid to 1 part rice. So if it's 1 cup of rice, we're going to go with 1 cup of juice. However, we're going to put some other vegetables in here. We've got the meat. We're going to put some onions in. So I always add a little extra stock. We're putting beef stock in here today. So I'm going to pour in the pre-measured beef stock. It's about 1.25 cups of beef stock. Now you can use any stock you want. Trader Joe's has a fantastic stock that has ginger in it and miso. If you get a chance to pick that up, it's only $1.99. I highly recommend it. But today we are just using beef stock. Throw in some onions. Now I've purchased this. It's called Eat Smart, just a vegetable medley. It was on sale. I think it was $1.50. It's got the 3 vegetables of cauliflower, broccoli, and carrot. So I'm just going to pour that right in as well. And again, I'm going to mix it up just because when the pressure is trying to come up, it doesn't want to try to squeeze through all of these foods. So I try to loosen them up. As far as the meat, you can put in any cut of meat that you want in this. It's beef and rice. I go with the cheapest cut. It is called mock tender steak. Mock tender steak, they look like little tenderloins. There's about 6 of them for $5. It's part of the chuck, the top blade. Those aren't the words you are going to hear when you're thinking about tender steak. It's very fibrous, chewy, tough to eat. However, we're cooking in a pressure cooker. You know what that means? It's going to totally break down those membranes. In about 12 minutes cooking time, this mock tender steak is going to be super tender. I mean, almost you won't even need a knife to cut through it. That's how tender it gets. It's almost like Yankee pot roast. You know, I'm from the Northeast. If you ever had Yankee pot roast, it easily pulls apart. Now, I generally just season this with an Adobe seasoning. It's got some cumin, some garlic powder in it, a little bit of salt. It's just a general all-purpose seasoning that I like to use. Put a little bit of that on my mock steak and drop it in the pressure cooker. Again, let's mix this up, give it some room so the pressure will be able to come up. I always like to squeeze in just a couple of lime wedges, the juices from the lime wedge. Throw a little lime in there, But last but not least, we're gonna turn this into a little bit of a Korean dish. I don't know if you've ever had bulgogi, which is marinated beef, Korean marinated beef. If you're thinking Japanese, think of teriyaki sauce. Bulgogi sauce is the teriyaki sauce to Koreans. So if you've ever had bulgogi or kalbi, it is a soy-based sauce. It's got brown sugar in it. It's got some sesame oil, some ginger, some garlic, some crushed Asian pear or red apple, and that is this sauce. It's not as sweet as Japanese teriyaki sauce, but it just puts out a ton of flavor. I put in about 2 or 3 tablespoons in with this dish. It really adds to the rice, adds a really nice flavor. I like to add it to a lot of my dishes. If you subscribe to this YouTube channel, you will see a lot of my videos do have some bulgogi sauce or kalbi sauce. You'll also hear about that sauce. My wife is Korean. I like to cook with a lot of Korean sauces and Korean spices. So that's what we are adding today. One final stir, just so those juices will be able to come up to bring this up to pressure. Now, the beef takes a little bit longer to cook. This is a Power Pressure Cooker XL. It has a meat function which is 15 minutes. You're going to need to cook this meat for 15 minutes. We got to break up those fibers. No worries on the rice. The rice will be cooked in about 6 to 8 minutes and it'll be fine. No sticking on the bottom because we put the oil and the butter in there as well. So I am going to hit the meat button. That has us set up for 15 minutes. As I mentioned, it's going to get up to pressure. That will take about 12 minutes or so. It's going to cook for 15 minutes. We're talking 27 minutes, 3 minutes to do a quick release. That would be 30 minutes. If you want to do a natural release, that's probably another 12 to 15 minutes. On this one, you can do a quick release. I would say by 30 minutes, you'll be eating this meal and you will be having some wonderful beef and rice with a little Korean flair. Coming up next is today's cocktail. Keeping it simple with today's beverage, since today's meal is quite simple, it is just a frosty beer, Longboard, a Kona beer out of Hawaii. This is a lager. It's probably one of my favorite beers as the Kona brand. There are tons of IPAs. They've got some coconut ones. They have some other flavored IPAs. I like this one the best. It's a lager. They also have another one called Big Wave, which is, I believe, a blonde. Very sweet, very light, but I like this lager. It's called Longboard. That's what we're going with today. Enjoy. All right, this cooking process has finished, and today I've decided to do a quick release. My wife is hungry. She said, let's eat now. So I am going to grab a towel, and I'm going to put it right over the pressure release valve. And you can already hear the air, you can already hear the pressure coming out. I just slide it to open and we'll start to let the process of releasing all the air. What was really nice about this was I was expecting it to take a little bit longer to get up to pressure. It was only about 8 minutes. So I did the 8 minutes and the 15 minutes, 23 minutes. You do a quick pressure release. You can see it's almost done. That's going to take less than a minute. In 25 minutes, you are eating a fantastic beef and rice meal with a Korean flair. You can already hear that air is almost out. Once it goes out, the indicator will drop. That makes it safe to open up the top of the pressure cooker, and then we will dish it out on today's plate. Let's see what we got. We've got a nice blue plate today. There it is. Did you hear that sound? That is the sound of the pressure release valve, or the indicator dropping. Now, I use the same towel, turn it open. Because it opens so easily, I know that it's safe. And I always open it up. As you know, safety, folks, away from me. And wow, take a look at that. I mean, this kind of reminds me of back home. I mentioned Yankee pot roast earlier. Look at this. Rice doesn't stick on the bottom. Super fluffy. You've got intact carrots and broccoli spears. Look at that, folks. Really easy meal, and I'm telling you, with the bulgogi sauce that I explained to you, it adds a nice little flavor. We'll show you how tender this meat is. I mean, I mentioned you don't even need a knife to cut this. It really is butter. Just like I said, back home, just like Yankee pot roast, super tender, super tasty. Now I will tell you, keep in mind, if you do a quick pressure release, this food is hot. I always like to let it sit for 2 or 3 minutes. That piece of meat wasn't too bad, but the rice will be really hot, so be careful. But overall, 25-minute meal, super easy, super quick, very tasty. Always, as we say, if you ain't cooking under pressure, you ain't cooking. We'll see you next time.